Good afternoon, everyone, and I would like to invite you to the final webinar of C2IMPRESS and MEDiate project. The reason I'm saying it's the final webinar because we are finishing up our projects, both of the projects, on the September 30th, 2025. Both of the projects kicked off on the 1st of October 2022, and both of them were funded by CL3 DRS01 project. So C2IMPRESS, or the Co-Creative Improved Understanding and Awareness of Multi-Hazard Risks for Disaster Resilient Society, where we have MEDiate with a multi-hazard and risk-informed system for enhanced local and regional disaster risk management. Today, we will learn more about those projects and also their journey within the last 3 years. So from MEDiate project, we have the coordinator, Dr. Abdul Ghani Muslim. He is the principal research engineer from NORCER, and also, as I said before, he's the project coordinator of MEDiate project. And Abdul Ghani has many years of experience in R&D project leading, coordination of Horizon 2020 projects, and also Horizon Europe projects. On the other hand, from C2IMPRESS project, we have Dr. Muhammad Azizur Rahman. So Dr. Rahman or Aziz, he is the director of Technovative Solutions Limited, and also he is the technical manager for the C2IMPRESS project. And Aziz has around 22 years of experience in R&D projects, and also he had led Horizon Europe, Horizon 2020 projects, and also coordinated Innovate UK projects. So without further ado, I would like to listen from the MEDiate project first, and I would like to ask Abdul Ghani to say something about the project, introduce us the project, and also share some journeys he has experienced within the last 3 years. So Abdul Ghani, to you.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to this joint webinar organized by C2IMPRESS and MEDiate project, both European Commission funded project within DRS. Thank you again for this invite and for this initiative that was started by C2IMPRESS, and thanks for all our attendees. So yes, this is true that the project is ending by September, and this is officially our last official webinar within the lifestyle project. But we tend to, of course, continue to disseminate and communicate about any news comes up in future within MEDiate in connection to ongoing or past project or any new developments. So I would like to talk about what has been developed within MEDiate project in terms of tools and methodology that takes into account the multi-interacting hazard and risk-informed as a solution to enhance the disaster risk management. First, a very quick introduction about the project for those who have never seen this before. It's a European project funded by European Union and UKRI. It was 3 years duration project, started in 2022 and is finished at the end of September. The project or the consortium is 18 partner organizations from 7 European countries. It's a multidisciplinary team, researcher from research centers, industry, university, as well as local and regional authorities. The project has 3 main objectives. We had quite a big list of objectives, but I tried to sum up them into 3 main bullets. One was to come up with a new tools, a solution, a decision support system that integrate the multi-interacting hazard and cascading effect. The second main objective was to take into account people-centered and integrate them in and resilience-informed approach, integrate them into a solution in order to make sure that we are taking into account the societal needs and other aspects like cultural heritages or vulnerable group that not always being taken into account when it comes to predict impact. And the third was to provide local regional authorities or the potential end users with operational tools that they can use for mitigation planning, tools or a platform where they can visualize, assess, as well as compare all these different result of mitigation adaptation actions. Now, I start with explaining through all the three main bullets. What is currently exists in the governance system is a system that in many cases, it only provide hazard information. There's no always risk information. And then the limitation are in terms of the fact that the hazard is always a single hazard. And then when there is information about risk is quite very basic as a risk. But the other important factor which does not been included in the current system is the terms resilience. So resilience is an important factor that allows us to understand how a given system can function for how long and what is the performance of the system until it gets recovered 100%. So this is very important information. So we want to shift from just a single hazard risk into multi-interacting hazard risk and resilience. So this is what you see in your left. This is the current system that is integrated in the Oslo disaster risk management system. So this is what they are currently practice, and this is the new MEDiate proposed management framework, where you can see here it takes into account risk and resilience assessment as new tools instead of just risk. So this is one. And number two is, so if we go into details the system, you have different components from exposure, vulnerability, hazard, and those combination will lead into computation of risk and the resilience metrics. So first of all, what we consider in our new solution framework is the dynamic behavior of those elements or these factors. So exposure is changing over time. So you can see here time means hazard is changing, climate change, for instance. You have also the vulnerability of buildings or infrastructure gets older, or if they have already affected by a given hazard, it change its characteristics, dynamic characteristics. So there is a change in the characteristics. All these elements are taken into account in the new framework. So the dynamic change of different components of the whole cycle that calculate risk and resilience. And on top of that is what we have added in new system is use this risk and resilience metrics to come up with a more enhanced solution, strategic solution for mitigation. So it's a risk mitigation based and resilience based solutions, so more enhanced one. The other point is all this, what you see is it takes into account the multi-interacting natural hazard and cascading effect. So we have developed this new framework that assesses the multi-interacting hazard and to generate the impact chain, physical, social, and economic impact. What means by interacting hazards? So you have, for example, this is a very simplified infographic, a visual infographic to explain in very simple way what means interacting hazard and what means cascading impact. So if we consider, for instance, the climate change generate heat wave, storm, and then you have the heat wave can generate wood fire. So it's a hazard generate another hazard or interact with another hazard, or it generate heavy rain. So storm also may generate heavy rain. So the heavy rain can generate floods, can generate, can cause landslides also. And then we have the cascading impact or effect that result from this, like impact on infrastructures, impact of people, and exposure in general. And then you have the economic loss. So the current system is only if you have flood, directly go to flood and try to compute directly the loss without considering the fact that flood may generate landslides, means that it increase the loss, it amplify the loss. Yeah. So the loss that you calculate or the impact on infrastructure is not just coming from flood, but also it can come from landslides or coastal flooding. So this is a very good example that shows how interacting hazard amplify impact. And if you have impact on infrastructures, it will have impact on economy loss, impact on people. This is which is the cascading impact or impact chain. So this is the whole activity as a technical, what we have been doing in this project. So we have been testing this project in 4 main pilot site or test beds: the city of Oslo, Métropole Nice, Côte d'Azur in France, and then we have Essex County in the United Kingdom, and then we have Mullabin in Iceland. Now, what we've been doing is the project itself, MEDiate, was the implementation was guided by a participatory action research approach, where stakeholders were not passive, just a passive recipient, but actually they were active contributor through the research process. More specifically, in terms of who was the stakeholder that were included, which actually we had a stakeholder from a representative from local, regional, national authorities, practitioners from various sector, technical expert. We had civil society, community, critical infrastructure operators, private industry. So these are a different group of stakeholders. And then we were guided by overarching participatory research approach. The engagement occurs through a combination of workshop, focused group discussion, bilateral consultations. This iterative process has allowed us for a diversity of perspective to be captured and validated at multiple stages of the MEDiate project. So we had also different type of input that was contributed to identification of and prioritize the key variable, and also the feedback that was instrumental in refining both the analytical framework and interpretation of the application of the result. We have also other example input from end user practitioners that highlighted the statistics or other similarity as an important parameters. We had the socioeconomic factor, which reflect the varying degree of resilience at capacity community. And also when it comes to the validity, where possible, we sought the validation of preliminary funding with end user groups, and also to ensure that the results were interpretable and practically relevant through stakeholders. So this is just an example of meetings that we had at all this different stage for the implementation of the project. Now, the main activities and added values. So we had four main activities. The first one, as explained before, it was about the enhancing and the understanding of multiple interacting natural hazard and cascading impact. Basically, here we generated what we call the multi-interacting hazard based on multi-layer single hazard. So this is what the current systems has in many of the existing governance systems. It's multi-layer single hazard. So from there, we go into a multi-interacting hazard. We try to find the connections between those different hazards. How, for example, a flood or landslides can link it to quicklime, can link it to earthquakes. For instance, we have a quicklime, which is a big issue here in Norway, that is always linked to inland flood, or it can also link it to the flood. So this is different single layered hazard, and then we prepare already the connection between them. Here is the schema that shows how they are connected. So you have in the blue, they are the hazard. So it interacts between each other. You can see here. So you have a hazard that can trigger other hazard, spatially and temporal. It's kind of the compounding between the hazard. And then what we do is we look at what are the X factors that can worsen the situation, which are the red color. So the red are the factors that can even make it worse. And then from there, we try to propose the mitigation measure that to reduce the intensity of potential hazard. So reduce the likelihood of a hazard or the extent of hazard. And then you have this are the which are in green colors. So this is the first step, is already at the hazard step, we can already, thanks to this interacting, we can already visualize what we can reduce as potential impact of a given hazard to trigger another hazard. And this is one of the examples that we see, which is a result of this combination that we create. It is in Oslo. It is the quicklime landslides that trigger flood. So the quicklime, it's more or less, it's very similar to liquefaction, if you heard about liquefaction. So this quicklime may create kind of floods that may basically increase the intensity of the hazard and increase the impact. And then in our system or the framework, we have the exposure. As I said, the exposure, it's not just physical environment, but also it's the social economic environment where we take a different group of people, the most vulnerable one, taking into account, and other aspects, depending, of course, from any site to another site. So the sites are different. They can be very different from each other. Okay, I have to go a bit quick. And then you have the vulnerability also. The vulnerability, we collect information about buildings, infrastructures, but also we link the exposure with the social economic vulnerability. This is quite a very important aspect that has been always highlighted by our stakeholders who are partners in this. So they were always insisting that social vulnerability must be a part of this in order to, for them, help enhance their efficiency when it comes to helping the most vulnerable group. So this is the overreaction of this. So you have the vulnerable, and the social vulnerability, the factors that you take into account. Again, it's different from site to another site. So it can be population only, or the education, income, employment, so on and so on. And then you rank the most important one for you as a stakeholders, and then you come with the model that best represent the vulnerability for this. So once we have this, we have the multi-interacting hazard, and we have the exposure vulnerability, then we can generate from the multi-layer we got the interacting hazard as show, we can generate the multi-risk information. And basically, it follows this flow chart. So we have the cascading impact. We have the hazard, which is now in the blue, and then the exposure are in the yellow. And then you have the impact that the resulted from that interacting hazard, and then also the risk. So you have the impact and potential risk that goes to cross-sectoral impact. So from there, what we can calculate, we calculate three category of computation: the economic loss and social loss and environment loss. So then you can map such kind of information. I will jump quickly to another next one was, once we have calculated this, we need to identify the metric that you can use for decision making for the DSS. So here, depend who are you as a stakeholder or end user, you select the most important metric for you. For example, if I'm finance, I will select business finance loss. I'm mostly, or if I school inaccessibility or CO2 emission for those who are more interested to environment. And then once you select the metric that are the most important for you, you take these metrics and then you integrate them into a decision matrix. So this is a decision matrix that depending on what you have selected as metric, you select criteria. The criteria, these are the metrics that you are more interested in, and then you select your daily practice or the practice the practice that you do when it comes to mitigation strategy for those metrics. So, and then you prepare them. This becomes as an input. So this becomes input, and then we go to a supporting multi-criteria decision system. Basically, I have all this. I have calculated the impact. All this we have done, the multi-interacting hazard, the impact, we have calculated it. And then these are the stakeholders that will look at this impact and then pick up the most important metric and then insert it into a decision matrix. So, and then they will go to the next, which is a strategy analysis. So this is what we call the DSS process. So I have selected this, and then I will select based on what category of end user I am. I prioritize which criteria is most important to me and how much a given criteria is important than another criteria. So for example, if there is two boxes, green means that C5, which is criteria number 5, is much more important than criteria number 1 by double. Or criteria number 2 is much more important than criteria number 5, but not highly important. It's only one separation between them. So this is a ranking, and then you get the strategic evaluation, which criteria or which strategy gives you a best solution based on your criteria, based on your ranking, which is the most important or less important. And then, for example, this group, they have done this, you get this criteria results, strategy evaluation result. And this group 2, they did this classification and they got completely different results. So this is why it is important to involve different group of stakeholders so that you are taking into account all the views into account. So finally, what we have developed, we have integrated into a platform to provide visual tools to analyze disaster risk, which is a web-based platform, where it allows, first of all, it's a place where different group stakeholders can meet and work together. It's digital. Everything can be digital. They can share data, and then they can analyze everything all together. Yeah. So yeah, this is the MEDiate platform that we developed. Sorry that I'm spending more than what allocated time. So I just want to acknowledge that a lot of people have worked in this project. It was quite a very long journey of 3 years. They are multidisciplinary people from different backgrounds, as you can see. Yes, so thank you very much, and look forward to your question.
Thank you so much, Abdul Ghani. I know it's really challenging to wrap up 3 years of work in just 20 minutes, but thank you so much. And of course, we will have Q&A session at the and of this presentation. So I would like to give this floor to Aziz, and we would like to hear about what they have done in the C2IMPRESS project. So Aziz, the floor is yours.
I think you can see the presentation slides.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay.
Yes, now it's fine. Perfect.
Okay, so we start. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So this is I think one of the last presentations from the C2IMPRESS, and yeah, I'm going very quickly as Tamanna mentioned that in a C2 three years projects we have done a lot of work, and it's not easy to wrap up in 20 minutes. So we will highlight only those that has not been covered in the previous webinar. So a brief overview of the C2IMPRESS project. So we are 16 partners in 7 countries, working from October 2022, and this September we are going to finish our nice and excellent works. And these are like around 5 million euro projects. So we have been covered in 4 use cases in Greece, Turkey, Portugal, and Spain. And these similar to MEDiate, this is the same DRS-01 call from 2021. So in C2IMPRESS, we basically develop a lot of methods, frameworks, and tools that are holistic and robust. So we try to be not to be like use case specific. In some cases, we try to be like a little bit more horizontal in different areas and different countries and covering different geographical conditions and domains. So we we concentrate a lot of time to better understand and public awareness of the multi-hazard risk. So, and we also develop some decent support system for considering different actors, and a lot of citizen engagement and as well as stakeholders engagement has been done, and a lot of tools that are like tested in a specific for use case examples to show the robustness of the tools we have been developed. So we will show it in different contexts. So these are the solutions. So we have developed a system for multi-hazard risk intelligent network. This is basically dealing with the climate science and Earth system observations data using, and it can produce the forecasting and the predictions and early warning systems in different scales. Then we introduce this public-private civic partnership for the first times in the in this domain of engagement. Then we design some apps and social media analytics we developed. Then we also developed some early warning systems, basically in all of the use cases. We have also the forecastings. Then we develop a lot of simulations in human behavior models and agent-based models, so what we call ABM, for different scenarios like for earthquakes and for flooding also and wildfires. So then we had a policy support system on the big data for the policy support, and then we had also a multi-actor decision support system. So where we put a lot of like decision support systems, so multi-cat analysis system, special multi-cat analysis system, all those things we put together. So I'm not going in details of these multi-hazards things that Abdul Ghani shows. So basically, we use the similar principle of multi-hazards and cascading impacts, and the influencing one actors hazard is influencing the other one and triggering maybe the second one. So all those things, we had the similar kind of principle we adopt. So in 4 use cases, basically we looked in different things. In Portugal, we looked a lot on the coastal flooding, then also fluvial flooding and wildfires. Then in Spain, we looked into the pluvial flooding and wildfires. Then in Turkey, we looked into the pluvial flooding and landslides. And then in Egalio, earthquake, heat waves, and wildfires, mostly we concentrated. So different kind of hazards we looked into in different ways. So I'm going to show you a little bit on each of the use cases that we try to focus, especially on the technical tools and how they are supported with the people's like stakeholders engagement, and also the bringing these stakeholders or the like different critical infrastructures providers or the early warning system operators or the people who work like first responders they are working. So we brought all of them in all of the work study areas through the PPCP, and then we developed a kind of knowledge from there, their requirements and guidelines, and also we implemented those in the different technical tools to see the outputs and provide the feedback to them, so that at the end we could develop some guidelines and directives for like policy recommendations, governance frameworks for future implementations. So in Balearic Island, basically, we show today that how this early warning systems we develop for flooding and as well as wildfires. And this is basically we did a lot of modelings, including the early warning system, like monitoring networks. We combined them and developed in HECRAS. We developed, and then we use those for bridge and other forts. Risk assessment, and also we are improving them for other facilities. So this early warning system has already helped to give a kind of real-time warning in during 2024 August to November, 3 of the events. We could use this early warning system to save some of the casualties. And if you see that they are really useful and they're in the operational environment, we have this is one of the main achievements, I would say. And then we have also the wildfires early warning system in that area. So it's we use these 30-30 wildfire rules, and they are also working in this area. Then also we did some climate change scenarios to see the future projected outcomes and different scenarios we tested, and we downscaled, and then we also developed some 50-year return period of flood forecastings, and then under different scenarios the high discharge are already. So this information is really helpful for the for the people like who does this flood management and disaster management in this Balearic Island. We are helping through these scenarios, and then we are also implementing this cascading effects, like effect of floodings or wildfires, and what could be the remediation. So nature-based solutions. We introduce the nature-based solutions, and we also run the scenario that how the nature-based solutions could be helpful to regenerate some of the like to protect the environment, protect the forest for wildfires. For example, here some results are given. So in this way, we try to see that how the ecology-based adaptations for floods and also for the wildfires in all of the use case area. These are some examples, and then those ideas are coming through the PPCP school or the stakeholders engagement, and we just see that how these solutions can be useful to the technical like tools. Then I'm going a bit fast then we ran to the Portugal use case. Over there we did a lot on the coastal floodings and fluvial as well, and the wildfires. So in Portugal, the central regions, basically we did this PPCP again that helps us to bring the people on the decision making. So people really participated with get enthusiasm and motivations, and they give a lot of ideas that could be tested. And we collected all the ideas, and then we put in different simulations or early warning systems or other kind of technical development, and see that what are the future scenarios and how it can help for taking the management decisions. So we developed this HIDELTRA, this early warning system. Then we had a flow basin app, which really helps to determine the discharge or the of a watershed. Then we estimate the future hazards, then cascading effects and ecosystem-based adaptations, and then we see also multi-hazard compound risk. So this is one of the activities that we got from the PPCP. This is really public, private, and civil partnership approach. So we did 4 living labs approach. This is in Portugal. So, but this 4 living labs approach, it was a horizontal approach for all of the use cases we had, and we got a lot of recommendations. So if you see in the right side, that lot of recommendations. So I'm not going through all the recommendations. So we got the recommendations from the governance, civilizations, technologies, infrastructure, and security and safety. So this really helps us to shape the technological development and to show that how these kind of recommendations can be helpful for the future scenarios. So one of the things that we develop in Hiddeltrera, so this is already working, and you see that some of the templates that how it works in the port of Aveiro. And the second one is the flow basin. This is also useful for estimating the floodings. So all these tools really helps the decision maker with the sound technological or like real secured ideas and with a lot of less uncertainty and more predictability. And then we also see that we developed in Portugal. This LNEG is leading a technical development organizations in Portugal for the C2IMPRESS project. So that they have developed these future hazards, different scenarios, and what are the projections, and also the cascading effect of wildfire into the public water supply. So on the right hand side, you see that different numerical solutions really shows that what are the contamination might come in different scenarios in future due to wildfires. And so it's you can see that this is a cascading effect that due to rainfall and floodings, and then all and how the effect of wildfire that can come to the groundwaters altogether. And then we have these, these things we have seen. Then ecosystem-based adaptation. So we also ran some spatial multi-criteria decision analysis. This is a similar principle that Abdul Ghani shows on multi-criteria analysis. So this is rather, this one is spatially distributed cells we work on, and then LNEC can come up with some definite ideas with the where to put the like manage aquifer recharge in the basins to augment the groundwater resources. And this really helps this drought and rain to drought, and also floodings to come back with the water scarcity. So this is one of the good things that we develop in this project. And then we also see that there is a multi-hazard compound risk mapping. So we could do the vulnerability map, we could do the hazard map, then we combine to the flood risk map. Then again we we can prepare wildfire risk maps, and then we develop a compound risk maps. But this one has to be careful that these are the combination of static maps. So but always this multi-hazard risk are dynamic, depends on the wind or rain and those sorts of kind of things. So this when those static maps change, so the vulnerability might be changed. So always you need to take care of this like these static maps and the dynamics. So most oftenly we always suggest to get them some impact assessment of different maps and look into the sensitivity of those kind of risk maps. Yeah, this is also a kind of a tool that we have been developed in this project. Then we are running. We are going to the Igalio. Igalio also is dealing with the heat waves, wildfires, floodings, and earthquakes. So Municipality of Igalio and National Research Council Democritus, they are responsible for these use cases, and collaborated with other use cases, other partners to get the like PPCP also. So what we did here is like earthquakes and flooding in the area near the University of Western Attica. So the municipality now is developing a lot of infrastructures and plannings regarding the heat stress and earthquakes. So all those things we have been planned in this project and executed through a PPCP labs. So this is the two examples. One is the PPCP, and the other one is the human behavior model or agent-based models. So PPCP is again this public-private civic partnership. So it gave us a lot of ideas, and we co-created different scenarios and different planning aspects regarding the vulnerable populations, equipment, infrastructure, health and mental care support. All those things we brought together and got some ideas, and then we put it in a risk and resilience framework, and as well as a governance polycentric governance framework. This we prepared the guidance later. The second extensive work we did in Igalio is the evacuations model, which is led by the University of Grenoble Alps and the RMIT Europe, and a lot of simulations have been done to see these evacuations models and everything. And then what we have the city risk and resilience, and so also different other tools like digital observations platform, hazard monitoring apps. Those are co-created using one of the living labs in Igalio and other living labs. And and they have been used in different guidelines and tools. So the last one we have a Turkey in Ordu. So Ordu, we basically look in the pluvial flooding and the landslides together, and so that there also we look into the vulnerability and resilience map, and then we look into the public awareness, and we bring the community, different stakeholders participated. So then we talked about different those all these stuffs together, and then develop these guidelines, and which will be coming in the next planning sessions. Also in Turkey, we developed an early warning system. So this is a new development. So all these instrumentations have been done, and then a new apps is developed for the decision making process, and also for these are open access, so the citizens can see also from their point what is coming and what would be the next, and those data can be available. Some of the data is available as an open access, and some are for the municipality for another use. So just I would like to show one of the like stakeholders engagement process that we did in PPC in this project is the PPCP. So it is a horizontal. So every work that we have done, this is one of the foundations in the work that we got to the people, to the public, private, and civic partnerships, and we brought a lot of stakeholders from different domains, and then we talked different study area focuses on different topics, and but at the end, these guidelines, policy-centric governance, risk and resilience frameworks, and policy support systems, all those are based on this PPCP. So this is a kind of that how many different stakeholders are participated in different regions. So it looks that all of our C2IMPRESS technical developments are based on the recommendations that we got from with the people. And then this is the way we moved to this improved disaster governance and multiple decision making centers, how the case studies helped. So all those things, all like the development tools, guidelines, decision support systems, all those works have been put in a C2IMPRESS platform. So you see the landing page, and also you see that how the different tabs of different tools. That means all the tools we have developed. So these are there is a public versions available, the descriptions of all the tools, but the tools are not still available for the public due to the sensitivity. So most of the tools or deliverables are put under sensitive tag, and so that's why they are not really available for the public. But those some of the like generalized guidelines or general reports are available, and those are went through this our ethics advisory board and security advisory board. So when we get also the permission from the European Commissions to publish some of the tools to make it available, then we will have available like just with time gradually. And so if someone needs some informations, I think we can provide some information that are not sensitive. Yeah, so in summary, C2IMPRESS has a special multi-category decision analysis tool. So this tools is a general tool, so one can use for any kind of hazard or vulnerability or risk mappings. So one can define its own work and everything. Then the second one is the multi-category analysis. This is also a kind of decision support tool, but more on different scenarios and not spatially distributed. Then we have a DPSI and pattern analysis tool. So this also helps to like framing all the problems together. Then we have a hazard monitoring app. This is a app for the citizens who can communicate with other peers, or also can provide some real-time hazard alerts. So we can also get the like maps or photos of a flood-prone area, and this app can also help to identify how is the depth of this water at this point. Then we have an hazard action eye, which is really very powerful and very specific for the management to define some management scenarios of flood, especially for flood. Then we have a centralized database which really collects all different things, and this centralized database is really specially developed for the ontology-based knowledge graph, which gives different interoperability of different sets of data, and also it connects with the European data space Copernicus, so that the data from the Copernicus will come and interoperable for other tools. And we have a disaster monitoring observation portal, which really connects with different on open source data source regarding the monitoring and of the different disasters, and it shows a summary of different disasters that are happening around. Then the social media data support tool is a big work that collects all the works and different or that connects with the different social medias and generates some insights and can come and can put a kind of nice visualizations about different data sets and different regions and different disasters. So all those things is included in the big power decision support tool, which is a policy support tools that has been also developed in the support of all 4 use cases. Then we have all this risk resilience framework, agent-based, human-based models. Then we have a map server to see all those things and guidelines and methods, weather forecasting system for Igalio, then multi-hazard hazard assessment in Balearic Island, and system of systems and risk resilience network that has been developed by Meteoceanics. And then we have this Hydrotra early warning system, and also we have this fluvial floodings and landslides early warning system in Turkey. So these are the summaries. So I think we had also a nice video of all those functionalities, but I think the time is not enough to go through this one. So I would like to thank you everyone, especially all the scientists and high researchers who work together in this project to bring those tools together to bring forward different ideas, different guidelines and policy briefs. And of course, we as a constituent C2IMPRESS, we would like to thanks all the stakeholders who really spend their time. It's not easy to bring to come up in a voluntary service, so they come they spared their time and they really help to shape up different policy or different future scenarios or different alternative solutions and give a lot of feedback. So I would say that all credits goes together with them, these stakeholders who are the main key point of the C2IMPRESS project. And thank you, the audience. So here I stop my sharing, and we go for maybe the next Q&A session.
Thank you, Aziz. Amazing work. Yeah, I can see the level of complexity and yeah, let's say complexity in the work you have done, both of projects actually. So we would like to open up for the Q&A sessions, and please, audience, please write down your questions on the meeting chat or in the Q&A section. We can see your questions here. So let's give some time to the audience. I have a question for both of you, actually. We have been seeing in the both projects you have worked with multiple case studies areas, and of course, I can feel that their level of disaster preparedness was different. So question to you, Abdul Ghani, did you face any challenges? Would you like to share with us, or for implementing the methodologies and tools?
Yes.
Abdul Ghani, we lost you, I guess. Yes, I think we just lost Abdul Ghani, but it's fine. Maybe Aziz, I can ask you the question, and by that time Abdul Ghani can come back.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I mean, of course, I mean, the challenge is itself the multi-hazard. Now, so the level of understanding, level of bringing people, and then we had a lot of challenge to bring all the stakeholders together, and the time is also not enough always, that because they are coming, all these stakeholders from their own job, is a voluntary job, so we had to always fight with with this kind of things. The second one is the level of knowledge of different stakeholders is different, and their need are different. Like someone is coming from firefighting, they have different needs than the flood management. So it gives a lot of excitement also that how to bring those people. So I think I would like to thanks the people like who really did the job, like PPCP or agent-based model, the scenario developments. They always has to be aware of the need of these different stakeholders and adjust it according to their need. That's why we had like different series of living labs, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and each of the living labs was designed so that they can cope with these challenges, and then can deliver something in the next year. So we we had these challenges, and also we overcame most of the challenges, I would say, and then we prepared a document that how to deal with these challenges in future in other places. So in short, this is the idea that we adjusted during the C2IMPRESS project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Aziz. Abdul Ghani, apologies. We had to, jump to Aziz because we thought we lost you, but since you are back, so would you like to comment on that?
Definitely, yes. We had 4 pilot sites that have completely different legislations. The partners had different level of responsibility when it comes to disaster management. So, for example, in Oslo, the commune of Oslo, they have access to all data. So they have the knowledge, they have the tools. So it was much easier for them to deal with such a project that requires access to multi-sectors, also access to larger communities, while other testbed probably sometimes they were struggling because not only they don't have access to data, even during a crisis management, probably their involvement would be minimal, while they have a very important position that it should have been different in terms of what they have as tools. So this was the biggest challenge in terms of access to data, understanding, and have the capacity. So some municipalities they don't have the capacity, this is one of the projects that allow them to exercise their capacity and also to identify what are the weakness. We need to fill all those gaps in case before any disaster come. So it was quite very insightful for them, as well as for us to better understand the situation.
Thank you so much. We have a question from audience. Is it possible to get access of the MEDiate platform? So I believe it's for Abdul Ghani.
Yes, the access will be definitely made available. We have already generated access focusing more on the stakeholders during the evaluation, and they are still looking at the platform, but we need to prepare a special space for that so that it is publicly available. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Abdul Ghani. In the meantime, Shurobi has shared the websites for both of the projects. So of course, please feel free to explore them. And if you have any questions, then you can reach out to the project, the coordinators directly. Another question, actually, it's more of how the future looks like. So do you see integrated risk approaches shaping the EU policy in the next decades, or maybe not even the decades in the near future? So maybe Abdul Ghani can start, and Aziz, you can also share some insights on that.
I think this is the main objective. This is the main objectives of all those projects that has been funded by EU is to try to raise the awareness and also the empowerment by providing better knowledge and the better understanding to people who are upfront facing the crisis. Here I'm talking about the key actors, but also even now with the new calls and new projects, they want us to involve also the community in general, or community as a whole, citizens. So yes, it is shaping, and I think it is starting to have an impact through all these interesting projects that they have developed. A lot of solutions. Many of this project in the past, like Horizon 2020, many of the good solutions, they end up in the archive because there was no very clear strategy, either at the national level or regional level. But now it's quite changing, and we can see that especially with the increase of the hazard due to especially to the climate change. So everybody wants now to have a more safer environment. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sure. So another well, this is the current new issues that we are seeing everywhere. And when you are speaking about the what if scenarios that is coming out in both of the projects, so it's just curious. I'm very curious to know, what's the level of the AI or the deep learning came into this project, both of the projects, or whether you are going to explore that in the future projects. So if you could share, whether you are using it in C2IMPRESS project, Aziz, and that would be great. And then Abdul can speak about Mediate project.
Yeah, and thank you. I mean, this is one of the like growing growing technology or so yeah, I think methodological in the EU recently, and we have those technology already implemented. So this system for our system dynamics actually basically it considers all this AI for the physical information, physical AI, physical information system. So there is a lot of work that has been done by Meteoceanics. So and it is beyond, it is, I would say it goes beyond state of the art. So this is one of the things that helps to understand the art system, the whole climate modeling. So we introduced there. The second thing is for AI, we also introduce a different, like for VGI, like how to get the informations from the citizens and can use those informations for technological development, like modeling of hydrological modeling. So one of the introductions or innovations we provide that if the through our app, if the citizen or someone can share or upload a picture of a flooding, like where a human is visible, then we can convert it to a flood depth at this area. So this really helps for the like to reduce the number of monitoring stations. So you can really have a lot of observed data of the inundations. So you can really develop some inundation maps. So these are like a very simple but using the information from the social media or citizens. So this is really practical applications of AI. On the other hand, this ESDI, this is a very high level quantum theory. So this is different. So we try to cover different aspects of AI. Of course, the future is coming, but people are using in different ways. So this depends on the
Okay.
context.
Right. Thank you, Aziz. Abdul Ghani, would you like to comment on that, please?
Yes, AI is quite emerging these days. I mean, it has been started to be included in many of these easy projects. Um, uh, Media project, the focus was not really about the information itself in terms of collecting information using AI solution, but rather than improving the modeling of assuming that information exists. So improving the modeling, like for the interacting hazard. So it means that we assume we already have the models. So our focus was more on developing a framework that allow to get this interacting hazard cascading impact rather than the modeling, for example, flood or something. So it was completely different context. But yes, I believe that with AI, we can, of course, enhance our single layers models as well as the interacting models in future. So this is something, it always has an open door, of course, for our project.
Thank you, Abdul Ghani. So we still have, well, we are almost done, but just few sentences about, what the future looks like. What's your plan in the future? Are you working together for any projects or any any calls or anything? If you could share something with us, that would be great.
We are already working together.
Together.
in a
Yes.
project called Together.
Yes.
So we are
Okay.
starting a project called Together in November. So this is basically a consortium combinedly some of the partners from Mediate and some of the partners from C2IMPRESS, and one common theory of bringing the informations together
Okay.
for the multi-hazards.
Wonderful, wonderful news. Good luck for that, and all the best for completion of the projects. All the best for the review meeting, etc. So thank you, everyone. We have just passed our time. If you have any questions, please do reach out to us. We'll, of course, answer to your questions. And of course, we will be sharing the slides with you after we have some validations, and we'll be reaching out by email. Thank you. Thank you, Abdul Ghani. Thank you, Aziz. And thank you, Shurobi and Chan, for organizing this webinar. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Bye bye.